Hello, and welcome to Vox Herald, your go-to podcast for the stories shaping Canada today. I'm your host, Nguyen, and I'm thrilled to be with you as we unpack the news that matters to Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Today, we're diving into a story that might seem like inside baseball, but has massive implications for our country's future. The new Democratic Party's leadership race, with the NDP's federal council meeting this week to set the rules. For choosing a new leader, the decisions they make could shape Canada's political landscape for years to come. From affordability to climate action, the NDP's next steps matter to all of us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's explore why this race is a big deal for Canadians. Let's set the stage. The federal NDP is at a crossroads. After a bruising 2025 election, the party was reduced to just 7 seats in the House of Commons, losing official party status for the first time since 1993. Jagmeet Singh, the party's leader since 2017, lost his Burnaby Central seat and announced his resignation on election night, triggering a leadership race. This week, the NDP's Federal Council, the party's governing body between conventions, is meeting to decide how and when to pick a new leader. The stakes? They're enormous. In a minority parliament led by Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney, the NDP's 7 MPs could hold the balance of power, influencing everything from housing policy to trade negotiations with the U.S. But here's the catch. The NDP doesn't have the luxury of time. A protracted leadership race could leave the party rudderless in a volatile political climate, especially with U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff threats looming. Canadians are grappling with affordability challenges, housing shortages, and climate concerns, and the NDP's ability to offer bold solutions depends on choosing a leader quickly and effectively. Let's break this down. The 2025 election was a wake_system up call for the NDP. They went into the campaign with 24 MPs, but emerged with only 7, a historic low. According to Elections Canada, the NDP's share of the popular vote dropped to just 6.9%, down from 17.8% in 2021. This collapse wasn't just about losing seats. It was a signal that the party struggled to connect with its traditional base working-class Canadians, union members, and progressive voters in regions like British Columbia, Ontario, and the Prairies. For example, the NDP lost long-held seats, like Hamilton Centre, a union stronghold, and saw their influence wane in Northern Ontario and Manitoba. So why does this leadership race matter? First, it's about rebuilding trust. The NDP has historically been the voice of working people, pushing for policies like universal pharmacare and affordable housing. But recent Angus Reid polling shows only 13% of Canadians would definitely consider voting NDP in the future, with 45% waiting to see the party's new direction. The next leader needs to re-engage voters who drifted to the Liberals under Mark Carney, or even the Conservatives, who capitalized on affordability frustrations. Second, it's about strategy in a minority parliament, with the Liberals holding 169 seats, 3 short of a majority. The NDP's 7 MPs could tip the scales on key votes. Think about issues like the Canada-US trade relationship, which is under strain due to Trump's proposed 25% tariffs. A strong NDP leader could push for worker protections or green industrial policies to counter economic uncertainty. But a weak or delayed leadership process risks sidelining the party when Canadians need bold ideas most. Now, let's talk about the leadership race itself. The Federal Council is deciding critical details. How long will the race be? How much will it cost to run? And how will votes be weighted? These choices aren't just procedural, they're political. A long race, like the 2017 contest that stretched over a year, could drain resources and momentum. A high entry fee rumored to be as much as $150,000 could exclude grassroots candidates, favoring establishment figures. Former MP Charlie Angus. And party activists are already pushing back, arguing that a top-down process risks alienating the NDP's base. On X, voices like @Martin_Luckix have criticized party insiders for favoring a short race with regionally weighted votes, which could limit new membership drives and grassroots energy. Who's in the running? Names like Leah Zahn, MP for Winnipeg Centre, and Heather McPherson, MP for Edmonton Strathcona, are floating around, both known for their progressive advocacy on Indigenous rights and climate action. Avi Lewis, a filmmaker and activist with deep NDP roots, is also a potential contender, though some worry his urban, left-wing focus might struggle to win back rural and working-class voters. Former Hamilton Centre MP Matthew Green has called for a leadership process that avoids being dominated by the consulting class, emphasizing grassroots renewal. From a regional perspective, the NDP's path forward varies. In British Columbia, where the provincial NDP under Premier David Eby remains strong, a federal leader who aligns with Eby's pragmatic progressivism could rebuild momentum. In Quebec, the party needs a leader who can speak French fluently to counter the Bloc Québécois dominance. In the Prairies, reconnecting with unionized workers and Indigenous communities, like those in Winnipeg Centre, where Leah Zahn held her seat, will be crucial. Let's dig deeper with some data-driven insights. The NDP's 2025 election results highlight a stark reality. The party lost ground in key demographics. According to Statistics Canada, union membership in Canada has remained steady at around 30% of the workforce. Yet the NDP's vote share among unionized workers dropped significantly compared to 2019 and 2021. This suggests the party's messaging on labor issues didn't resonate, possibly overshadowed by the Liberals' promises on affordability or the Conservatives' focus on cost of living frustrations. Cross-referencing with Angus Reid's June 2025 poll, we see a generational divide. Only 8% of Canadians over 55 say they'd definitely consider voting NDP, compared to 18% of those under 35. This gap points to a challenge. The NDP must appeal to younger voters passionate about climate and housing while winning back older, working-class voters who feel left behind. A leader like Leah Zahn, who's championed Indigenous-led climate solutions, could bridge this gap, but only if the party avoids an elitist leadership process. Economically, the NDP's next leader will face a tough landscape. The Bank of Canada's June 2025 report warns that U.S. tariffs could shave 1 to 2% off Canada's GDP, hitting industries like manufacturing and agriculture hard. For regions like Ontario's Golden Horseshoe or Alberta's agricultural heartland, this could mean job losses and higher prices. The NDP could seize this moment to push for a made-in-Canada industrial strategy, but a prolonged leadership race risks missing the window to influence policy. From a cultural perspective, the NDP's leadership race is a chance to reflect Canada's diversity. Indigenous voices, like those of MPs Leah Zahn and Laurie Heidlaut, are central to the party's progressive identity. A leader who prioritizes reconciliation and Indigenous-led policy could resonate in regions like Manitoba and Nunavut. Similarly, engaging immigrant communities, especially in urban centers like Vancouver and Toronto, requires a leader who can address affordability and systemic barriers without leaning on stereotypes. But here's the rub. The leadership race rules could make or break this opportunity. A high entry fee, like the $150,000 rumored, would exclude candidates like Grassroots, activists, or younger leaders who lack access to big donors. A short race, as some insiders want, might favor establishment candidates, but stifle debate about the party's future. The Federal Council must balance financial realities. The NDP's loss of official party status means less funding for staff and research, with the need for an open, inclusive process. To bring this home, I want to share a perspective from a community member. I spoke with Ashley Zarbatani, co-chair of the NDP's Indigenous Peoples Commission, who told me the leadership race needs to be about rebuilding trust with working people and Indigenous communities, not just party elites. A high entry fee or a rushed process shuts out the very voices we need to hear. Her words echo a broader sentiment. The NDP must return to its roots as a party of the people. Whether it's a steelworker in Hamilton, a farmer in Saskatchewan, or a young renter in Vancouver, Canadians want a leader who listens and delivers. That's today's episode of Vox Herald. The NDP's leadership race might seem like a small story, but it's a pivotal moment for Canada. The next leader could shape policies that tackle housing, climate, and economic challenges, especially for working-class and marginalized communities. As the Federal Council meets this week, they're not just picking a process, they're setting the stage for Canada's progressive future. What do you think the NDP needs to do to rebuild? Share your thoughts on X at @Vox Herald. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and let's keep building a Canada that works for everyone. This is Nguyen, signing off from Vox Herald. See you next time.